hop on and settle in. Okay, so we will start now. Good afternoon to all the attendees in this session. I believe each of you is achieving success in your respective business pursuits. I shall now commence today's webinar session and I extend a warm welcome to each one of you present with us. I encourage all the participants to stay with us until the end to receive answers to any queries you may have. Before that, I would like to take a short moment to introduce our recognized trade organization, the Asian Exporters Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I am Tehri Mullah, your host for today's session, and I'm honored to serve as the Executive Director at AECCI, our esteemed organizations accredited by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, which takes pride in its prominent role as a trade organization. AECCI is dedicated to actively support exporters and importers engaged in international trade through various initiatives. We have strategically crafted a range of promotional and development services to bolster private sector endeavors in industry, trade, and services within the Asian community. So, the presence of each participant here today is highly valued, and we are genuinely thrilled to have you join us for this webinar. The Chamber's vision is to observe businesses and professionals voluntarily coming together to build a strong and prosperous economy, ultimately contributing to an improved quality of life within our community. And with the invaluable guidance of our Honorable Chairman, Sir, Shri Zahir Bukhari, we are committedly working towards realizing and flourishing in the pursuits of this vision. As a leading trade body in India, AECCI is committed to making enduring and impactful contributions, upholding core values such as independence, neutrality, honesty, clients' rights protection, confidentiality, promptness, responsibility, exceptional performance, and team spirit. We prioritize our customers and establish our robust systems. Our strategic planning is dedicated to ensuring the long-term success of our clients' businesses while embodying these values. Today, it's an honor to welcome a distinguished legal professional of extensive experience and expertise. So let me introduce Mr. Vijay Dalmia, an advocate practicing before the Supreme Court of India. He's a legal expert with over 37 years of senior litigation experience, specializing in cases related to PMLA, Income Tax Act, and white-collar crimes. Currently leading litigation, white-collar crime, and cyber law practices at Vesh Associates Advocates. With international representations, government roles, and authorship of numerous articles, Mr. Dalmia brings a wealth of expertise, contributing significantly to the legal field, both nationally and internationally. So before we proceed with our agenda, let's pause for a moment to allow our esteemed speaker to introduce himself. So Mr. Dalmia, over to you, please.
Hello, friends. I am Vijay Pal Dalmia, and I have been practicing before the Supreme Court of India as well as Delhi High Court and various district courts for last 37 years. I am a senior partner of Vesh Associates Advocates. It's a full service law firm, and where I had the my practice area. So during the course of our presentation, and I would like to make it interactive rather than making it monologue from my side. Okay. Whenever you have any questions, you can interrupt and we can discuss the issues so that the discussion becomes a meaningful discussion. So sure, with that, I would like to again request
yes. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Your presence is sincerely valued. And as we start our discussion on emerging threats in global trade while addressing corporate crimes, I encourage everyone to take advantage of this opportunity. Your insights will make our session more valuable, and we look forward to an engaging conversation. In today's session, we will delve into the comprehensive exploration of crucial topics, including understanding various forms of corporate crimes affecting international trade, navigating the complex legal framework, and ensuring compliances. We will also address emerging cyber threats, money laundering risk, and challenges in protecting intellectual property on a global scale. So furthermore, we will examine customs fraud, supply chain vulnerabilities, and the legal implications of sanctions and export controls. The session will also shed light on the risk associated with bribery and corruption in international trade, the impact of emerging technologies, and the importance of data security and privacy during cross-border transactions. So in my role as today's host, I'll be delving into common queries frequently raised by our exporter members. It's a privilege to have Mr. Dalmia, our esteemed expert, graciously sharing his insights throughout the presentation. So, as we navigate through each topic, I encourage active participation. Don't hesitate to pose questions and make the most of this opportunity to enhance your knowledge in the realm of international commerce. So, without further ado, let's commence. Sir, I extend the virtual stage to you. Please share your screen and initiate your presentation. And concurrently, I'll begin with some foundational questions to establish a clear understanding.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, friends, our today's topic is corporate crimes and emerging threats in international trade. So, let us first understand what are corporate crimes.
Right.
Basically, corporate crimes means white collar crimes. White collar crimes again means that these crimes are committed by those who are in the position of control, who are in the position of decision making, and who have access to this system. These crimes are committed by those who enjoy confidence of the people, confidence of the organization, and who enjoy confidence in the business system. So these are the crimes which are very difficult to find out, look into, and which are very difficult to what can I say, to uh, locate. Very difficult to locate, and fishing out these kind of crimes is a big job. And you must be reading newspapers and other things. You might have realized that these kinds of white collar crimes or so-called corporate crimes are very difficult to earth out, and so the corporate crimes are primarily white collar crimes.
Okay.
These are the crimes committed by a person of high respectability and social status in the course of his occupation. So, what are the examples of common types of corporate crimes? First and foremost is money laundering. We have to understand the concept of money laundering for understanding this kind of corporate crime. The second is falsifying information on financial statements. What is the biggest example? What is the most recent example which must be in our memory is Satyam, where the accounts had been fudged and the accounts had been falsified, and a lot of things happened.
Okay.
The third thing is tax evasion. So there are two kinds of tax evasions. The first is a planned tax evasion, where you exploit the system, vulnerabilities of the system.
Right.
The second is where you, by manipulating your records, by manipulating your financials, you avoid payment of taxes to the government. These may be direct taxes, these may be indirect taxes, and there are many methodologies for the same. One of the example is when you are importing something from outside, underbilling of this. There are two things, overbilling and underbilling. So, when you pay the custom duty is an indirect tax. You import the goods from outside by underbilling it. Now, the next threat, which is the recent phenomena, is commission of crime by cryptocurrencies.
Correct.
Means that you avoid the legitimate system, legitimate financial system, and make the payments through cryptocurrencies by bypassing the banking channels.
Okay.
An example for the same may be that when you are under invoicing, when you are importing something from China, let us take an example. When you are importing something from China, you are getting it under invoiced. Under invoiced means that the person will be saving on the custom duty, the first thing. The second thing is the person will be able to remit on a lesser sum outside India in foreign currency. But the person who has sold, the entity which has sold in the goods to an Indian in China would like to have the full amount. They are not concerned with the over invoicing and under invoicing. So that money is being paid as of now through cryptocurrencies by bypassing the financial channel. Same way, cryptocurrencies are being used for many purposes. For transferring money outside India without following the financial channels, for bringing money into India.
Correct.
And without any trace and without any financial channels, because we have a white economy, legitimate economy, and there is a secondary black economy which exists in the market. These cryptocurrencies have massive acceptance in the trade channels, so people are able to encash the same. It's not that they are not able to sell.
Okay.
This is another example which I wanted to point out. Cryptocurrencies then are being used for the purposes of terrorist financing. Now, money coming to India for the purposes of terrorist financing has become very easy. The reason being, earlier the enemy countries or the other countries outside India who may be hostile to India had to manage sending of fiat currency to India. But now that system has gone. Sending money in cash, doing hawala and other things have disappeared. Now what is being done? That money is being transferred through cryptocurrencies, which are being encashed here in India very easily.
Okay.
So this is another dimension of corporate crimes.
Okay.
Bribery. One of the biggest corporate crime is bribery. Though there are laws, there are rules, and there are systems in place, there are policies which are being made by the companies that they will not indulge in bribery of government officials. But still, on the ground level, the ground reality is these corporates indulge in bribery. Then, false claims in advertising.
Okay.
Now, what happens that corporate crimes are very easy, considerably very easy to commit. Now you must have seen every day in the night at around 12 p.m. or I can say 1 a.m. between that period, there are lots of advertisements which are happening over television. We will cure kidney problems, we will cure heart problems, we will cure this thing, and there is a medicine for everything. Recently, there has been a judgment, there has been an order from the side of the Supreme Court against Patanjali saying that your advertisements are making false claims to cure the diseases. So this is also a kind of corporate crime. There are various advertisements which are taking place in the on the television and the social media, and which may not be projecting the correct information, may not be giving the correct information about the corporate crimes. Surrogate advertising is another example.
Okay.
You want to sell whiskey, you want to sell liquor, and for that you are coming up with another kind of advertisement where you say such and such thing is a playing card, music, energizing lives, Something like this. We daily come across these kind of advertisements, false claims are being made regarding the vehicles. So these are the types of false claims in the advertising. Then there is embezzlement, taking out money from the system. In corporate world, what happens, again, a lot of money is being taken out of the system by the owners, so-called owners of the company. Though the company has a separate legal entity, but these people who are managing the company, they take out a lot of money in cash from the system for their own benefits. They embezzle, they manipulate the system. Over invoicing is done, over invoicing is done, under table money is taken, and this is how cash is withdrawn by these people.
Okay.
Then damage caused to the environment due to negligence. Saying negligence is a very polite word here. Damage is caused to the environment deliberately, irrespective of the public interest. Factories are being set up without looking at the environmental aspects. Then cyber crimes, cyber espionage and threats. Friends, there have been various type of corporate crimes, and there are lot of organizations who are indulged in various kinds of cyber crimes. They offer a lot of things, and by making a lot of promises over the internet, maybe through Facebook, maybe Instagram, maybe other methodologies, a lot of offenses are being committed. If you remember, few years back, there was a virus with the name WannaCry. They will block your system and they will ask for bitcoins. Another type of corporate crime is intellectual property violations, where the organizations indulge in infringement and passing off of various types of intellectual properties like trademarks, copyright, designs, etc. There are lots of fake products in the market. You go to the auto market and you will find a lot of fake products. It's very difficult to find out. Similar names, deceptively similar names, deceptively similar trademarks, deceptively similar looks of the boxes and other things. So intellectual property right has become one of the biggest element of corporate crime, where these corporates try to take advantage of the weak memory of the consumers.
Correct, sir.
Then, like I have already told you about foreign exchange violations. Foreign exchange violations are very serious violations, and if you get into it, you may even get destroyed. I can use a strong word. Your organization may get destroyed because fines are hefty. There are repercussions which take place, and I will say intellectual property is one of the biggest culprits in this domain. So let us proceed to our next slide. These corporate crimes are very difficult to investigate. Whenever there is a corporate crime, you will find, you must have read the newspapers, that there is a charge sheet that is of 50,000 pages, 1 lakh pages, truckloads. When the corporate crimes were committed by these politicians, like the case of Lalu Yadav, what happened? The evidence was in truckloads.
Hmm.
So how do you expect a judge to go through truckloads of documents, remember them, analyze them, and then find out what has been committed by the person? In any organization, there may be thousands of pages worth information is being generated every day. How do you expect someone, even the officials, to find out what kind of crime has been committed? So, first let me go through the slide. Corporate crimes are very common and are being committed every day on large and small scales. While corporate criminals may not get caught, recent international trends are that the governments and citizen groups have rallied together to unearth corporate crimes and prosecute corporate criminals through legislation, punishment, and accountability. Here we are talking of punishment, legislation, accountability. In the matter of corporate crimes, these things may be just laudatory words. How? Let us take an example. Vijay Mallya,
Yes.
what is the name of Nirav Modi? Then there are other names also which can be given.
Hmm.
The governments are not even able to bring them to the judicial system, to the justice. They have committed huge, massive crimes. But bringing them to justice, judicial system, judicial accountability has become very difficult. Extradition is not happening. If extradition is not happening, they are not being brought to India. If they are not here in India, they can't be prosecuted. Before going outside, they must have transferred their entire money by committing various types of crimes.
Hmm.
They might have taken out their money through cryptocurrencies. Very easy. A code only, you copy it on your email, go and create an account outside, your that put that code and your money is there. You can encash them.
Right.
Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, these are some of the basic examples where the prosecution of corporate crimes literally fail.
Right.
Let us go to the next slide. Now, look at some examples of corporate crimes. These are international examples.
Hmm.
Falsified financial and accounting fraud. I have already told you about Satyam.
Hmm.
Enron. Enron was an American energy company, was revealed to have hid billions of dollars in debt from stockholders through accounting loopholes and falsified financial statements. In 2001, the company went bankrupt and stockholders lost $11 billion. The Enron stock plummeted from $90 per share in 2000 to $1 per share by the end of 2001. See what can be committed, what kind of crimes may be committed by these corporate criminals. The basic thing is that they remain even after committing crime. If you have committed a murder, dacoity, theft, society looks at you from a different kind of eye. There is a rejection from the side of this society.
Hmm.
But these corporate criminals remain well respected in the society. There was another example is of environmental Exxon Corporation and Exxon Shipping. In 1991, Exxon was responsible for approximately 11 million gallons of oil was spilled near the Alaska shoreline. Wildlife was killed. Thousands of Native Americans lost their way of life. Exxon was criminally fined for $110 million. Illegal exports. IBM, East Europe Asia Limited. In 1998, a branch of IBM was charged with exporting computers to a Russian nuclear lab that was believed to be testing, constructing and maintaining nuclear explosives. A lot of crimes are being committed now. There is a Russian-Ukraine war. There are sanctions, and despite those sanctions, goods and products are being diverted and sent to Russia and Ukraine. Now Israel-Palestine war, Hamas war. So the dimension of corporate crimes are massive. There is no one way which can be defined. There is no one way which can be imagined. People devise the way to commit the crimes and earn illegal profits. Now, the basic thing is that the individuals who are involved are rarely caught, and if caught, are rarely convicted, and if convicted, generally receive light sentences. Ironically, the more you steal, the less severe the penalty. White collar crime is a high return, low risk venture. We have already discussed this particular aspect, and the basic thing is that there are thousands and lakhs of companies, lakhs of organizations, and these authorities, whether ED or other agencies, they are very rarely, until unless tipped off properly, able to get hold of these kind of criminals.
Okay. Thank you for the clear explanation on the definition and categories of corporate crime, sir. Now let's transition to our next question. In the light of potential risk we have outlined, what proactive measures can organizations implement to enhance their resilience against emerging risk in the global trade environment?
Like, we can take an example. We can take an example, like it is being said, Tatas do not pay any bribe, whether they are able to establish or not, but they don't pay bribes. So these things can be implemented, first of all, by the companies, by having robust policies and a conviction to say no to bribery.
Okay.
Until and unless you don't say no to bribery, nothing is going to happen. These crimes will continue to take place. The secondary thing is that legal mechanism. By saying legal mechanism, what I am trying to say is the government has to bring robust laws, severe penalties in terms of sentences. Merely penalizing financially is not going to break this entire structure. You have to bring severe penalties, because these kind of crimes basically damage the economy of any country. And more a person is successful in generating money through this financial manipulation, more bolder that person becomes.
Okay.
So there has to be legislative changes. There has to be legislative intent, there has to be enforcement, and there has to be internal policies of the organization that we don't want to indulge in these kind of briberies. Else, it is very difficult to implement.
Yeah, so well, that's thoughtful. Building on that insightful response, let's now shift our focus to the complex landscape of legal framework and compliance in international trade. So, sir, in your expertise, how can businesses effectively navigate the complex legal framework to ensure compliance and mitigate risk, particularly considering the evolving nature of regulations?
Law of the land of any country is supreme for that particular country. There is no international agency which can catch you and prosecute you for the corporate offenses. There has to be a kind of cooperation between the between the intergovernmental organizations. Until unless there is a willingness to cooperate with each other, there is a willingness, yes, we are going to punish these kind of criminals. Nothing is going to happen. Again, let us take the example of Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, etc. What is happening? That for one reason or the other reason, due to the legal hurdles, due to various other things, these kind of people are not being sent to the countries where the offenses have been committed.
Yes.
Because those offenses have not been committed in Great Britain or Britain, in that particular case, they can't be prosecuted there. So until unless there is an active cooperation between the two governments, nothing can happen. The next thing is exchange of information. That is very necessary. Most of the time, what happens, exchange of information between the government agencies do not take place. There are DTA regarding double taxation avoidance agreements, but that is relating to tax. Now, what about the treaties and honoring those treaties that the information will be shared by one government to the another government? Like if someone is having a foreign bank account, then there has to be a mechanism where automatically the information regarding that foreign bank account is sent to India. This is an example. I am taking India as an example. This is applicable to all the countries. So this is how effectively the system can work. As of now, what we see in the courts, that there is no effectiveness. There is a complete failure of governments in providing information to each other. When we go to the court, there are certain methodologies which are adopted. I cannot punish you on the basis of a photocopy of a document. In India, if you want to punish someone, you need original documents. Now, if we talk of the foreign countries, when Indian government receives documents, those are merely uncertified photocopies. What is the value of uncertified photocopies? We argue before the courts that these are the documents which are uncertified, which might have been manipulated during the course of transit of those documents and other things. So no, there has to be a robust system regarding this as well.
That's very true, sir. Ensuring compliance and reducing risk involve keeping a close eye on things and adjusting to new rules promptly and prompting a culture of legal awareness within the organization. So as we move forward in our discussion, I would like to delve into the prevalent issue of cyber threats and business and money laundering risk, which have become increasingly common in today's business landscape. So, in relation with this, sir, what proactive measures can companies adopt to stay ahead of legal challenges and maintain a robust compliance strategy in the face of emerging threats such as cyber threats and potential money laundering risk?
Money laundering has become a big nuisance for any economy. Cyber threats have become a bigger threat because cyber threat, we may say, may fall in the category of corporate crime, white crime, or these are simply criminal activities. You cannot put cyber threats into the category of corporate crimes. Cyber threats are real. Cyber threats are, as of now, beyond control, and there is a system where your systems are hacked, your data is stolen, where your systems are hacked, and your system stops working. You are not allowed to work until and unless you pay ransom amount. The demand of the ransom is maybe in bitcoins. So what happens when the demand is in bitcoins? The criminal becomes untraceable, because this basic character of your cryptocurrencies are that they are anonymous in nature. Very difficult to trace out those things. So cyber threats, these threats are happening from overseas. If I take the example of India, most of the cyber threats are originating from overseas. Now, until unless there are intergovernmental exchange of information and cooperation, how do you expect that these cyber threats are going to be stopped? Because there is no mechanism. It is internet, where something flows from outside India, it affects the internal system of India, and the matter ends. You become a victim. Now, coming to the aspect of money laundering, it's a very huge subject in itself, because in money laundering, what happens? That you generate money from illegal sources. After generating money from illegal sources, what you do, you try to integrate that money into the system. Let us take an example. When you go to purchase land, we must have definitely heard about number 1 and number 2. तो white में क्या लेगा, black में क्या लेगा. Now, the land deals have become one of the biggest dumping grounds of money, in the sense that white portion is the circle rate of the land, and remaining portion is paid in black. Now what happens? That once that money is paid, that money gets integrated into, the black money gets integrated into the system. Now that becomes untraceable. That the value of the land is more, you pay in black and white, in black as well as white, I should not say, and that money gets integrated. Similarly, cryptocurrencies. Now people have started, in place of land, started investing in cryptocurrencies. It's a huge, massive market beyond our imagination. You take bribe, you go, you buy cryptocurrency. Again, it is practically untraceable. These are codes only. So, the governments have to, I should not say governments have to evolve technologies, and governments have to become serious in finding out these kind of people and punishing these kind of offenders.
Correct, sir. In response to your insightful input, sir, it's evident that proactive measures are vital. To maintain a strong compliance strategy against each threats and risk, companies can focus on implementing robust cybersecurity protocols, conducting regular risk assessments, and having compliance awareness throughout the organization.
Absolutely right.
Now proceeding to my next question, which will pertain on protecting intellectual property. So, what are the key challenges and legal considerations that businesses face in protecting their intellectual property?
Okay. First and foremost legal challenge is laws are there.
Hmm.
Laws are very, we have very good laws. Now, what are the problems? Let us discuss about the problem. The problems is ignorance, lack of knowledge of intellectual property laws in police
Hmm.
and even judges.
Hmm.
The judges, they are not aware, they may not be aware of the intellectual property laws. The police is not willing to act against the offenders. The sole reason is they say we are busy with the cases of murder, theft, dacoity, and other things. We would not like to delve into this particular domain of intellectual property laws. They don't understand, they don't know intellectual property laws, and they have their own methodologies for acting against intellectual property laws. Copyright violations are cognizable and punishable. Police normally do not act. Similarly, except very few jurisdictions like Delhi High Court, maybe Bombay High Court. The biggest problem is if you go to the judges in district courts, where these laws have to be implemented, the infringement has to be prevented. The judges do not take any proactive action. That is because of lack of knowledge and because of lack of the information or knowledge about the severity or the consequences of infringement of or violation of intellectual property laws. It is biggest hurdle which we see day to day in the courts of law. Because while protecting intellectual property laws, what you have to do, you have to become proactive. Until and unless you are proactive, the judicial system is proactive, the victim is proactive, there is no way out.
Okay, so like certainly safeguarding intellectual property poses challenges and requires careful legal considerations. And the key challenges include the need for vigilant protection against infringement, navigating complex legal processes, and staying updated on evolving intellectual property laws. So proactive measures involves a strategic legal planning and regular audits and much more. So
Yes,
now, moving forward on addressing issues on custom fraud, sir. So, how can companies address and mitigate the risk associated with customs fraud, including fraudulent practices related to declarations, valuations, and classifications?
Can you repeat your question?
Yes, sir. Like, how can companies address and mitigate the risk associated with customs fraud, including fraudulent practices related to declarations, valuations, and classifications?
As of now, the authorities are acting in this direction. They try to find out information from various sources regarding the valuation of regarding the pricing of the products. Because the biggest crime that is being committed is underbilling and overbilling. In underbilling, you don't pay to the custom authorities the custom duty. In overbilling, what happens? That you take out the foreign currency out of India more than what was required to be paid.
Okay.
Both are the offenses. Here, until and unless the custom authorities are vigilant and they employ their methodologies for the purpose of assessing the exact pricing of the goods that has been imported into India or what is being exported out of India, it will be very difficult to judge that what has actually transpired and what has taken place. So this is regarding the valuation. Valuation
Okay.
is one of the biggest challenge in custom enforcement. The second is, if we take the example of intellectual property, there is a system with the custom authorities where you can register your brand with the custom authorities so that whenever an infringing material is coming to India, that can be stopped at the
Moment.
moment
A port or
it lands in India.
yeah.
So these are some of the things. Here the companies are also culprits. Companies are also culprits in the sense that because of this some expenses involved, companies do not enforce their intellectual property rights,
Right.
which give courage to the violators to continue with the violations, because these violations are not only against the companies. We have to understand one thing. These are against the customers as well.
Right.
I get a poor quality product. I pay maybe the same price, maybe slightly lesser price, but I also get a poor quality of the product component. If you talk of the auto parts, then poor quality of the auto parts, which may have a which may not be effective or have a lesser life.
Right, sir. Thank you for shedding light on this, sir. Staying vigilant and proactive in these areas is crucial for maintaining the integrity of international trade practices. So, my next question is on the supply chain vulnerabilities. So, in your knowledge, sir, what are the critical vulnerabilities within global supply chains that companies need to be aware of, particularly concerning the risk of exploitation by criminal elements, such as the increase of counterfeit products and the instances of product tampering?
Like, let me give you an example. I would like to explain it by an example.
Sure, sir.
Some of the companies who are manufacturing jeans, they don't allow and they are duplicacy of their products, and they are able to catch hold of the infringing material, duplicate items.
Okay.
What they do, they put a chip in their buttons. So to find out the authenticity of the product, what they do, they use scanners and other things and find out that this is our product or not. But this may be costly affair. This may not be applicable to all the things. 3D holograms,
Right.
legitimate channels. Everything boils down to one thing, that is enforcement.
Correct.
Whether it is India or European countries or countries like US, etc. Everything boils down to one thing, the enforcement.
Okay.
Enforcement at the port, enforcement by police, enforcement by judicial system.
Correct. Rightly said, sir. Continuing with that only, considering the complexities of global supply chains, what proactive measures and strategies can businesses implement to safeguard against potential threats and vulnerabilities, ensuring the integrity and security of their supply chain networks?
The companies have to evolve a way where their products reach the destination in the manner they want it, in the legitimate manner. Secondly, the companies have to also ensure that there is no pilferage in between the supply chain of their products.
Okay.
Pilferage is not there. Thirdly, they have to also ensure that in this supply chain there is no mixing of the infringing duplicate material.
Okay.
Because in these supply chains are the basic instruments, tools through which the infringing duplicate materials are passed through. I have done so many cases in which supply chains have been compromised.
Truly.
So compromise of the supply chains is the biggest issue. Because if you keep the supply chains robust, in that particular case, you will be able to ensure that the customers get the genuine products. If pilferage happens, if somebody is able to break the supply chain and infiltrate, break is the wrong word, infiltrate into the supply chain, then definitely there is a possibility of pushing the infringing goods, duplicate goods.
Excellent analysis, sir. And everyone, on our discussion on global supply chains, Mr. Dalmia highlighted the need for proactive measures, like businesses can safeguard against potential threats and vulnerabilities by implementing robust supply chain risk management and conducting thorough due diligence on partners, staffs, and everyone, and leveraging technology for real-time monitoring as well. And also emphasizing resilience and security is crucial to ensuring the integrity of supply chain networks. So, proceeding our next focus on sanctions and export controls, sir. So, how can businesses ensure strict compliance with international sanctions and export controls to avoid legal repercussions and safeguard their operations in the complex landscape of international trade?
Very difficult question. You have to understand one thing. When there are sanctions, if you violate, you get blacklisted.
Correct.
If you get blacklisted, you are not able to resume your business or you are not able to do your business.
Right.
These sanctions have been faced by India in past also, and now is being faced by countries like Russia and other things, other countries.
Other countries.
So sanctions are basically should be there. That is one thing. And sanctions have a tendency to stop the international trade because these sanctions do not only affect the suppliers, but what we have seen that these sanctions also affect the life of common man. Maybe crude oil, the prices get out of control. There may be other things as well. The countries may suffer. So, in case of sanctions, actually you are not in control in any way as a businessman. These are sovereign decisions. And in these sovereign decisions, there are some terrorist decisions also. Like at the moment, there are attacks on the ships by the Houthi group. Right, sir. Ships are being attacked, sunk, and everything is happening. So this is a very complex issue, and I don't think that I'll be able to dwell upon it anymore.
Sure, sir. As we transition to our next critical highlight, let's delve into the part bribery and corruption. In today's global trade landscape, understanding the risk associated with unethical practices is crucial for businesses. So therefore, sir, my question to you is, how can businesses effectively address and reduce the risk of bribery and corruption in trade while fostering a culture of transparency and upholding ethical business practices to ensure sustainable growth and compliance within legal standards?
There are two ways. We are talking about controlling bribery.
Yes.
There are two ways to it. The first thing is the legislative intent. By legislative intent means that there has to be severe punishments to prevent bribery by the taker and by the giver also. Else it is very difficult. Until unless the system is in place. Secondly, there must be enforcement, strict enforcement. The enforcement is the biggest challenge in bribery. And bribery happens in rooms. This doesn't happen in open spaces, in the public domain. This happens in private sphere. So very difficult to track out. To address this issue, there has to be a corporate policy of the organizations that we would not like to indulge in bribery, we will not pay bribery. So these are the three methods: the legislation, the enforcement, and the company policies.
Yes.
Until and unless people become aware, bribery is not going to stop. This is an eternal concept which has been happening for generations, for decades, for centuries. Very difficult to prevent because this happens in closed spaces, closed arena. But one has to understand that I am ready to stand in line. I am ready to stand in queue. Bribe can be stopped. There is no problem at all. But one has to adopt the policy. One has to understand that I won't break the queue. I won't take the advantage of the weakness of others, and I am ready to stand in the queue. The habit of going away from the queue, breaking the queue, bypassing the queue is the biggest problem in the domain of bribery. We face it every day in our life.
Correct, sir.
That we would like to pay something just for the sake that the
It
queue,
benefits us.
yeah, we bypass the queue. So you have to stop that. This is an individual trait. This is a conviction which has to be there. Willingness of the government, willingness of the legislature, the enforcement, the judicial act. There has to be a judicial will also to punish these kind of people. And recent trends, if you see, you read the newspaper, and we take the example of India, the recent trends is that these people who have been indulged in bribery are being punished.
Correct, sir. Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights on addressing bribery and corruption risk. So, building on to this, let's explore another crucial aspect. So, in your expertise, sir, emerging technologies impact. How do emerging technologies like blockchain and artificial intelligence impact the landscape of international trade? And what security challenges do businesses need to be aware of and address in light of these technological advancements?
AI and technology. These are the facts of life now. These corporates have to be ready and be prepared to adopt AI as well as the technological changes that are happening and happening very fast. The laws have to deal with these technological changes. At present, if we take the example of India, we see very limited legislation, scanty legislation, or there may not be even any legislation to deal with the challenges relating to AI and technology, like morphing, creating of video, and these things are happening every day. Even biggest of peoples in India and world over, they are getting victim of this thing. This is all related to internet also. Now there has to be a system that how to monitor and how to regulate internet. Until these technologies and artificial intelligence are not regulated, things are going to be very difficult. Let us take the example of ChatGPT.
Correct.
Now it has totally changed the way we write, we think, and we create documents. we create information, we disseminate information. There are tools that have come which are able to create your exact replica saying something. There are tools that have come into the market which can mimic your voice.
Correct, sir.
So how do you trust that you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing? You are able to, how do you ensure that the call which is being received by you is from the right person or the wrong person?
Correct.
So again, everything boils down to one thing:
Okay.
legislation and enforcement, intergovernmental cooperations.
Correct. So your
People
insights
have to,
are
people have to also become, have to be also educated, and they have to also become aware.
aware of such things, right?
Government is saying every day, these ads are coming. Please don't share OTP. Still, OTPs are being shared.
Right.
Still, people say, I have received an email or a message that on the occasion of Anant Ambani's wedding, Jio is giving 550 rupees worth recharge, and people are clicking on the same. I have those kind of people in my office. That's why I have taken this example.
Yes, so your insights are truly enriching, and I appreciate your perspective. Now, proceeding to the end of this webinar about the data security and privacy. So, how can businesses prioritize and ensure data security and privacy in cross-border transactions? And what specific measures should be taken to protect sensitive information during international trade to reduce potential corporate crimes and emerging threats?
You have to understand one thing, that there is no international law. When we talk of privacy, EU has got its own laws, regulations.
Yes.
Now India has come up with its own laws regarding the privacy of data during the international of the Indians, personal data of the Indians. Now it is not sensitive personal data, it is personal data of Indians. So either there has to be a kind of treaty amongst the governments that we will have similar kind of laws. Else, everybody is blowing its own trumpet. In the sense that India has come up with its laws, EU has come up with its laws. A practical example I am telling you, that enforcement is the biggest problem. Laws are there. Laws are there. Any person having a website, any company having a website must have a privacy policy.
Correct, sir.
How many companies have a privacy policy? Please tell me.
Most of them.
Most of them do not have a privacy policy as per the law.
Yeah.
They may be having a link. So there is no enforcement at all.
Right.
From the side of the government. So the privacy is being violated. We are being, whenever we download an app, we are being told that please give the permission to access your contact list. Then we are being told that please give us the access to access your phone records, videos. For a company like Zomato or Swiggy or maybe Blinkit, what is the use of all those things? If you don't accept, you don't get the services. If you access, your privacy is gone forever.
Correct, sir.
So now the business is data. Everybody is trying to collect data. The entire landscape has changed.
Right, sir.
Landscape of business has changed. The data has become the new oil, crude oil.
Correct.
It has acquired more value than the crude oil. Google is collecting data, Facebook is collecting data, Instagram is collecting data, who is doing what thing. You write something on Google that I want to buy a dress. You will continue to get ads of dresses. Where is the privacy? Privacy has become a myth.
Right.
actually talking about privacy, it has become a myth. It has become only for some activists who will go to the court. Else, as far as public is concerned, there is no privacy at all. Coming to the businesses, they collect data, they transfer data, they are supposed to maintain the data in a particular format, they are supposed to share the data only where the laws of the country from where the data is coming are applicable. Who's going to ensure? There is no enforcement.
Right, sir.
And once there is enforcement, how the courts are going to deal with these complex problems? That what has happened to the data? It is also going to be a challenge. So data is new oil. The companies have to be compelled to comply with the privacy law requirements.
Right, sir. It's clear that businesses need to prioritize these aspects. Ensuring secure handling of sensitive information during international trade involves implementing robust encryption, conducting regular technical audits, and much more. So now, lastly, sir, in your opinion, what emerging trends do you foresee in corporate crimes affecting international trade?
I see two things. First, the cryptocurrency, emergence of cryptocurrencies. These are going to stabilize or may be destabilize the entire financial system. The reason being that the money transfer has become very easy. Secondly, the foreign exchange violations. This is again a very sensitive issue.
Right.
So the companies have to ensure that they have a robust supply chain. Thereafter, the quality controls. Thereafter, the transfer of money. The transfer of money has to be ensured to be in the legal manner. So this is my take on your discussion.
Okay, so what an enlightening session we have experienced today. I'm confident that similar to my own experience, each of you found the discussion with Mr. Vijay Dalmia to be both enriching and enlightening. Throughout our conversation, we explored various topics, gaining invaluable insights surrounding into the solution of corporate crimes and emerging threats in international trade. So as we wrap up this engaging webinar on the crucial interplay of emerging threats in global trade while addressing corporate crimes, I extend my sincere gratitude to each of you for your active participation and insightful questions. A special acknowledgement goes to our distinguished speaker. I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Vijay Dalmia for sharing his invaluable expertise on the complex landscape of international trade and corporate crimes. His insights have not only deepened our understanding but also provided practical strategies for businesses to navigate these challenges. And as the representative of the Asian Exporters Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we extend our sincere gratitude for your time and expertise, Mr. Dalmia, sir. Your dedication to knowledge sharing resonates with our vision of promoting collaboration and excellence with the business community. Your valuable insights contribute significantly to our collective pursuits for success and growth. So, to our participants, thank you for joining us today. And as we conclude our session today, let's carry forward the wealth of knowledge shared and embark on new ventures in our individual pursuits. Stay connected for upcoming enlightening sessions from AECCI. The Asian Exporters Chamber of Commerce and Industries remains steadfast in its commitment to guide members through the dynamic landscape of international trade. Look forward to upcoming engagements as we continue our collective journey of exploration and learning. Your ongoing support is immensely appreciated, and we eagerly look forward to your participation in our forthcoming webinars. So once again, sincere appreciation to Mr. Vijay Dalmia, sir,
Thank
for his invaluable time and encouragement. We anticipate reuniting with you soon, sir. And to all the esteemed participants, may you have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for the opportunity that has been given to me.
It's our very much pleasure, sir. Thank you.